Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's our last game of the entire stage. I can't believe it. DWG KIA versus Sandbox Gaming is about to begin. And unfortunately, this game doesn't mean anything for any one of these two teams because DWG KIA can't make it to the major. They already messed that up for themselves. And Sandbox can't make it to #1 anymore because Cyclops already got all 3 points in game #1, rolling over Fnatic. So, hey, what's up? Here's the desk. I'm Milosh with me are Anne and Fresh, and let's do it justice. It's our last desk of APAC for the year. So, first of all, let's talk about DWG KIA. I know there's a lot of negatives to talk about here, but this is still a good team in so many ways.
It is, really, and they had a little bit of a messy start to their game last week. It was a really important one for them. That was the game that basically kept their major dreams alive. After losing out to Fav, a team that you don't really expect to lose from, they won that game. A little bit of a messy start. They were feeling maybe a little bit too confident as well in the final few rounds, but they got their good points. However, later that day, their major dreams got absolutely shattered. And we have seen that this team is an emotional team before. They've had some losses. I'm talking about a major match point on a semi-final that they lost, and they really seem to struggle with those losses and taking that into, well, improving afterwards that. We see Coated is the best performing player of this roster. If you look at the stats, he's performing worse than he did in the previous stage, but he is still outperforming all of his teammates right now. Obviously, they had to make the switch with PGH coming in as well, due to Ketseng leaving for national duty, but the team is really looking shaky.
Looking shaky, but all over 100 DPS. That's how high the standard is that DWG KIA have set themselves over the last 12 months.
Massive, over 100 EPS for everybody, and it's still not enough. This is showing you how much competition there is still at the top here in APAC North. And speaking of competition, Sandbox on the other side, considered the top Korean team now, especially after the stage. They've already been to a major in the past. We're talking about Berlin. Both of these teams were there. Sandbox now are qualified for Jönköping. So, Jack, how are they looking today, you think?
Sandbox have shown a lot of substance, a lot of growth over I would say the past stage, because I'm coming into the stage and I'm talking about how Sandbox are not yet the complete outfit. They've got the 5 players, they've got the 5 best, you could argue actually, 5 best players in Korea at the minute, and they should go to the major. Now, they've achieved that, but the nature of how they've got there, I think particularly after the first 3 games, that despite the fact that they got a loss and 2 quite big wins in the first 3 games, they look fairly poor, especially in that Fav game, but that's all the way back to Playday 2. Now, the last 3 games, they've looked much more composed, much more like an actual very balanced team, and the teamwork is the big thing for me that they're going to need going into the major. Now, obviously, you look at the percentages there as well. Attack percentage is only 43%. That's something that will be a pain point for them, but they're very comfortable on the defense. You know, and when we go through to the team card that shows the players, these boys are, you know, like I said, the 5 potentially best players in Korea. Arakazi is not actually having that great a stage, but we've seen him on Team 1 right across the year. He was probably the best player on that roster at the time when he got picked up. Good Boy's coming in as like the star player. If we was to compare him to an EU or an NA player, you could compare him to a Spoit or a Bolo in terms of that young protege coming up, building the team around him. And Sandbox, for what it's worth, they look really good.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on then in this series. And what were you expecting?
I was expecting, when I scroll back, I was expecting maybe a Villa, but that was also going to find out very soon.
Yeah.
Can I say this is something I'm a little bit concerned for DWG KIA? I mean, they were the ones that decided that Oregon was not going to be the play and they were going to go to Bank, but arguably that Bank is Sandbox's best map over this stage. They have 2 wins on it, and over those 2 games, they've accumulated 100% defensive win rate. Now, DWG KIA starting on defense should give a little bit of comfort for them, but, well, it seems that Sandbox also has their best attacking win rate over the stage on this map.
I think if you look back probably 9 months ago, Sweden, SI, that was the turning point for DWG KIA on this map,
Yep,
when Kansan 1v4'd them.
Yep.
And I think realistically since then they've had a full identity crisis on it, changed how they play, gone very passive on it. It's been one major factor to their downfall. So I'm very interested in how DWG KIA do, especially on the defense, because I'm expecting them to try and get away from that passiveness that they've shown over the last 6 to 9 months on the map.
Can I share one more concern that I have for, because we were really talking about, we're really hyping up Sandbox here. One concern I have for them, and you talked about their poor attack and win rates in general, I think it mainly comes down to them having the entry kill on their attacking rounds, but they can't convert that into a round win. They do it more often on their defenses, so if they start converting their entries they have on bank in that first half into round wins, might look like a very, very quick game for Sandbox in that case.
Okay, then a lot to really look forward to here. And, you know, if anything, DWG KIA don't have to worry about rent because they've been living rent-free in Kansan. Well, Kansan has been living rent-free in their heads for 9 months now, so there's something to think about. Go back to bank, see how that works out. Fresh, and thank you very much. That's Sandbox versus DWG KIA. Our casters are ready. It's Exer, Turka, and Demo. Enjoy.
Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us here for what is going to be the last game of the stage here for APAC North Demo. And who are we to bring it? What a privilege we get here to deliver this final game. DWG KIA against Sandbox on bank. By all accounts, a game again that doesn't really mean too much today. But there's still hope here. There's still big two teams fighting off against each other.
You probably would have looked at this game at the start of the season and said, that's going to be a decider.
Well, we did. Only a couple of weeks ago, we were looking at this game and we were saying, this could mean everything. Somehow it doesn't. Things have already been decided. Sandbox already locked in for the major. DWG KIA, after a very turbulent stage, have not been able to secure that first or second place. And as such, we go into this game with Sandbox being the favourites to come out on top.
Yeah, I would say so. I think Sandbox obviously getting, you know, the major spot at the end of the day. They are the better team. This split, there's no two ways about it. And I think Sandbox, they probably have been the most consistent team in APAC that we've seen throughout the past year. I think you have to give it to them. They're always there. DWG KIA has been turbulent. KAG sometimes as well have been turbulent in terms of how they've played their siege. But I just think Sandbox have just steady. You know what you're going to get with Sandbox, and it's good siege.
For the most part, yes, I would agree. They've been playing very good siege this stage, certainly domestically, and we will come to see if that is,
well, yeah.
You know, follows suit on an international stage.
That's a big thing, I think, for Sandbox, where we start to look at, obviously, you know, the major around the corner now. It's, will Sandbox actually be a bit of competition rather than just a placeholder for a spot? We want to see some international success. I think KAG, I think they will see international success. I think just the way they play siege, it'll catch somebody.
I'm sure somebody that's fairly loud and outspoken has been saying that KAG are going to go through and
what Super said?
Win a 6 invitational.
What did Super say this time?
It was you! Dokubi Flores, Cade, first 3 to be removed. Let's round things out with a Valkyrie or a Mirror or an Echo here and just see it all done. Good job I said the Echo there. Could have left with egg on my face.
I don't like egg.
Still, Mirror, Valkyrie, both available. Cade removal means that, I don't know, basement, it's one of those 50-50 sites, isn't it? You either see it in a game or you don't. Really heavily depends on the bans and the way that the two teams are feeling on the day.
What was that Nook headgear, by the way? Like, what is that?
Just,
is it a curtain?
I couldn't see it.
Is it your grandma's curtains? I don't know.
It's John Cena, isn't it? Can't see him. The Mirror Man or something.
Just for reference, Ollie did the John Cena wave as he said that. Just to let everyone know.
I only learned that about a year ago. I live in Korea, actually.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Avid wrestling fan.
Yeah. Chambers. This time last year, Chambers was a nobody. Think about it. It's true. It's true, though. No CL, no nothing. He was just there.
A meteoric rise.
Now look at him.
10 seconds remaining.
Too big for me and you.
The fan club has remained loyal.
Way too big for me and you.
Fan club has remained loyal. Well, we will be seeing the Valkyrie at least this time. No Mirror for this open area defense. A little bit of drone hunting. Maybe a little bit early aggro here from PJ8. It's just potentially hoping to catch someone out. If they do go and knife that window, you typically shoot that window open. Oh dear. Maybe a bit of a freebie. No, can't quite find the angle. Doesn't even pick up any damage there. I think it does just go to show how aggressive DWG KIA are willing to be here, Demo. There was a bit of talk of them potentially being a bit too passive on this map, and we want to see him really get up and around in the face of Sandbox on this defense.
I think Sandbox just have to control the game at their pace. Because at the end of the day, DWG KIA are just going to go out here and just do whatever they want. You know, similar to kind of, I think, what we've seen during the last game, where it is, there's not a lot on the line. There could be so many ways that Dplus KIA can choose to defend. It's just all about Sandbox being able to control that, isn't it? Because obviously Sandbox, they're still going to want to build up as much, wins underneath their belt before they go abroad.
Confidence is key. Winning is a habit. You don't want to be coming out here and not picking up a result and just going and letting Dplus roll over you. It's a good opportunity to get a good bit of official practice in before a major event.
Maybe test some things. You never know. You could try something. And well, they do have a Ying, so they will try and form some sort of Ying execute. Where that will come in from, still not too sure. Keep in mind this is our Teller. Oh, there it is. Yes, finds the Nook, crouch walk in. And I honestly thought that Good Boys was in a good spot. Maybe just slip in towards Teller and Archives and then open up that side of the map. There will be trades upstairs, but Dplus KIA will come out on top. Sandbox haven't got anything going, Ollie. Not at all.
Trades galore for Dplus there. There was nothing that was getting past them, was there? Everybody was covered. There was a nice peek over onto Good Boy, and equally, that was assisted upstairs when the retreat came through. Sure, you might have the Thermite, you might have the ability to open that triple wall, and you might have a Ying for a little bit of aggression and a bit of a push. But if you've got no guns to back that up and you've got no bodies to bolster the push, a 2 versus 4 does start to look quite tricky. Control of the top floor has been given up by Sandbox more than it is being taken. Sorry, given up by Dplus more than it is being taken by Sandbox. Maybe going to go for a Ying canister through the floor and just see if that can assist somewhat, as Static does hop his way in, but immediately is cut down by PJH. Envy Taylor in and amongst all of the flashes, but he's cornered. He's got a player on nearly every single side. Couldn't pick anything up, but it was Rin credited with that final kill, but realistically it could have been any one of the remaining Dplus players.
Yeah, Sandbox, they just tried to infiltrate the back line. We see Nook, I think that's what they were relying on, was Good Boy making a bit of space for them, wasn't it? But just as soon as he gets caught out, where do you go from there? You've lost Good Boy, you've lost that main push. I mean, I will say that I think Sandbox, what they've shown me, I think, this stage more than anything else is they are actually quite good at playing from behind. I think Envy Taylor has been crucial in that clutch role to actually do that. So I don't think Sandbox are that team where you would say, if they lose this player, they're done. If this doesn't happen, they're done. I do think they're very resourceful in terms of how they can play their siege, even if they're at a disadvantage.
I think you're right. But they've got to show that again and again and again, and under the pressure. It's not something that you want to be known for, is your ability to fight from behind. It's all well and good be able to, go out swinging.
But playing from behind and that kind of inconsistent, it's inconsistent, yes, isn't it, playing from behind? Moments like that can do well internationally in tournaments. Not so much in the regular play, because as we know, in the regular season play, it is all about being a marathon rather than the sprint, whereas tournaments, you can, look, a 6-day event, you just have a week where you're playing from behind and you're clutching everything and it's just everything's working for you, which we've seen before with teams, and it's worked for them. But in terms of regular league play, you need that consistency, isn't it?
You do. You need the ability to be able to do both, and we see some of the great teams pull that off quite nicely. You think about some of NIP's nice runs, for example. But it's a good example, isn't it? Tournament team, we often said that about them when they were in the glory days, of that ability to be able to play from behind.
It was a glory 2 weeks, please. Let's be precise about it. It was a glory 2 weeks.
Yeah, they've had their time in the sun. Nice little open up of the Kanto wall here from Static on the ace. He can throw those Selmas through and get himself a nice line of sight onto the corridor. Just cut off the players for Dplus. We've got Yas below, who now will find it a bit more difficult to rotate up main stairs, and Woogieman 2 is maybe cut and pigeonholed a little bit further into that meeting area.
Dplus KIA now ready to see how they can hold on to this top floor. Kanto wall being open, as we know, Ollie, just creates that cut off for all of the defenders. They have to be aware that with those walls being opened, you do not have the same flexibility to rotate throughout that top floor. They do have the concrete barriers though in Ollie, which is actually quite decent to clog up those holes. And realistically, do Sandbox want then to rotate the Ash over to that side of the map and then take more time away? It's a bit of a pain then to deal with that, isn't it?
And I think that Sandbox are feeling that pain, aren't they? This is definitely a bit of a stall out. They've got step 1 of the plan open. They've opened up the Kanto wall. But where's step 2? Sure, we've got the Ossa pushing in through the square, but That's being dealt with quite nicely there by PJH. MV Taylor eventually shuts him down from the window, so we're starting to see that synergy come through. Now I'd like to see a lot more pressure come in from that square stair and start to deal with Coated in the site. You've still got Rin below, let's not forget, who has the C4 stay again. Rin is no longer in the picture, and neither is the trusty C4. With the Ossa Shield set up here on the square stairs, that provides a nice line of sight and an ability to peekaboo out from the back of it. Still with a couple of defenders to root out here. 35 seconds left to go. Sandbox still need to get moving here. Losing Good Boy isn't going to be good in this situation. It frees up that Stalker somewhere to rotate through, but yes, he gets taken out for his trouble. Static, a big down on the site. Is he going to be able to now get the plant off? Potentially, Woogieman having a chance to spoil here from behind that reinforced panel. Gets a nice view through the rotate hole. Achieves the down onto Arakazu. It's all now down to Woogieman. The plant will be re-attempted. He's getting caught in the meat grinder there, Demo, who's in the blender. MV Taylor picks up his second kill on the round, eventually dealing with Woogieman. I think everybody knew where he was, but no one knew what to do about it.
Oh, scrappy closeout there from Sandbox. Should be a little bit better than what that was. Sandbox played that round the way it's supposed to. Very clean attack, nothing too crazy. Using the window, I think the window rotations that we've seen come in was the real key in my eyes anyway. I think that's crucial.
And who was that? MV Taylor.
You do all the setup, you open up the walls, you get everything in place, but you need that window pressure. You need something else to make defenders worry. Those windows can basically shut down anyone playing in the sites. That's how strong they are. You need to play to those advantages. So, yeah, Sandbox, just a clean round. It's what you expect from them. A team of this caliber, week in, week out, you expect that.
There was two things that really stood out to me there. MV Taylor on the window repel, and Arakazu taking out PJH from taking out Rin from below on the Mozzie. Removes the C4 because that's the win condition at that point. Deny the plant. Time's running low. If that diffuser gets caught in a really bad place and can be held or whatever, no one's there to immediately. It's round over there for Sandbox at that point. So a nice little play and a good bit of problem solving on the fly for Sandbox in a round that, you know, it wasn't not going their way, but it wasn't all swimmingly going their way. We are now going to see, however, Demo, a little bit of basement action, and it is the basement this time. It isn't the first floor on the theme block. And we've got the Monty, and maybe just maybe, a little bit of a sense through Garage.
I'm having a look and seeing the approach. Immediately I'm thinking Sandbox, they're going to try and do... Basically, it's a weird one. They're going to try and bait with the Monty inside a server,
my Lord,
while everyone else tries to push in Garage, but nobody's getting Garage! How has this been allowed to happen? Sure.
What? Woogieman, hello! 2 one-taps, a C4 onto the Ossa. It's round over. Throw it in the bin. Get yourself on the roof and have a chat. This is going nowhere. 2 minutes 10, we've seen 50 seconds, Demo. Static, he might have the kit. He's going to get himself into his first engagement right here, right now. He's stuck with the DMR and everybody knows where he is. Put some good damage on to Yas through the wall. Nice little line of sight now open, but damn well, they can retreat to the site. Pretty happy that all they have to deal with is Ascends. Oh, the glasses are off.
I've seen enough.
I've never seen Demo with his glasses. Demo actually can't see without his glasses.
I've seen enough.
He really has seen enough. Static's going to find himself one. It's likely going to be an exit frag at this point, realistically. He should not be able to break these engagements down into 1 versus 1s, and Dplus KIA should be there to trade out. They do have the numbers advantage. Just going to be covering out and making sure no one's hidden behind the desk. Can use the hard breach gadget to open up the hatch. Maybe that's going to be his idea of getting on through. Immediately going to drop that Goyo canister not being popped. Kind of surprised. We are eventually going to see it pop, but he's covered himself off quite nicely. He is doing his best to try and break these down, Demo, but he doesn't commit to it fully enough. Getting shot from pillar and post. It's Woogieman to close out of the round the same way he started it. Cheeky little headshot there. What a round from Woogieman.
Just.
That's why you don't push Garage.
I just don't have any words. It's just...
That's why you don't push Garage with 3 people. It's not something you can do always at the start of a round either. You need to drone it. If someone's playing actively in it, dip out. Do something else for a bit. Send the Nook down there later on. It can't always be a primary focus. There was a Monty brought in that round, for goodness sake.
I don't even want to linger.
Oh, we're going to get a replay of it. Look. Bang. Absolutely pings Good Boy.
What's he doing with the
Great target prioritization here. The Oster Shield is sleeping. Absolutely asleep at the wheel.
Walk back into the C4.
Immediately taken out. Delete the drone. Everyone knows where he is at this point, and ping, the second shot comes to... You barely even see him. Without the red outline there, you're going to barely see him.
2-1, D1 KIA.
10 seconds left.
Is that one for the... Who does that hurt more? Does it hurt Sandbox more than it helps Dan1? Because if I'm Woogieman after that round, I'm pumped.
Well,
I've just hit 3 of the best shots
I know.
Could have possibly hoped to hit.
This is the thing. Whenever I was doing predictions today, I do see D1 KIA very similar to G2, where two teams that we've seen so much and how good they can be, but they haven't shown us it during these stages. But I still wouldn't put it past them to win, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That was the dilemma for me today. Same way that at G2 BDS came on Monday night. I thought, surely BDS will win that, but there was just something that screams out G2 could still do it because it's G2. No, that's just the way G2 is. I mean, we all said the same about G2 in the M&M game. Did they beat M&M? Yes, they did. Similar, I think, for D1 KIA, where we know that they have wins in them. Wins that maybe they look as if they shouldn't have, but they can still do it. So that was the dilemma I had today, I suppose.
Can you put your glasses on, please? I'm not used to seeing you without them.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know, it's just a little bit unnerving.
What are you trying to say?
I'm not used to seeing. It's like when someone takes the glasses off.
The glasses isn't my persona.
No, I know, but it's how you usually look.
I don't see the issue.
Just don't be missing any of the action now.
No, I can see fine close up. It's just far away. I struggle with.
Ying gonna come to not a lot there aside from flashing out Good Boy.
Good Boy, the star man.
That's
0
gonna get
kills.
himself in here. This is pretty ballsy. I'm not sure he's got any information. By the looks of it, he didn't. Yes. Immediately there to take him out. There is going to be a player inside a CEO. Rin immediately going to try and deal with that. Arakazu gets himself a little bit of a glimpse, but he's playing peekaboo behind the barricade. Eventually shuts Yas down with a very nice shot. There is going to be a player in Janitor. That player will be the next to fall. Eventually the confirm coming through as the confidence from D1 KIA is coming back to hurt them a little bit.
8 impact grenades being chosen by D1 KIA, by the way.
It's not 10. Call me when they've got 10. Fav used 10.
But yeah, they have 8 impact grenades, and that Heartbreach gadget's just been shot through the soft flooring. I was going to mention there about Good Boy, 0-4. I think this is where he's got himself into a position where he is trying too hard to get a kill.
Yeah.
It's happened, I'm sure, to everyone before where it's not been your game. I feel as though this is where one of his games is it's not happening for him, and he's trying too hard to try and find a kill. Just listen to your IGL. Just try and wait for more of a surefire kill than crouch around and hope that something walks into your sightline.
Static. Try and open up there a little bit of an angle into sight. Using the exothermic charge on the floor, it will open up the top of the barricade, or the reinforced panel, but not much more. Taylor is hell-bent on making these Candelas through the floor work, and with a drop from Static, it's not immediately who you want plummeting into the bomb site with the diffuser. Still not enough room in there for cover, but Arakazu comes up huge, picks himself 2 before being down. Taylor, you got a lot of work to do inside of a second, my friend. You only need to find yourself 1, but Coated keeps himself safe. Oh dear, Demo, a desperate hatch drop there. Not even anybody on the single window.
Why has he got off the diffuser? Why? Arakazi's died for that. Arakazi's got the kills for that. Why is he getting off it? That was actually not too bad of a play from Sandbox. I kind of looked at it and thought, okay, they don't really have a lot. It's a 3 versus 3. They have the Candelas. We've seen a glimpse of the Candela action where they try and use it to almost ward off anyone trying to push in to kill the planter as it goes down in default hatch. So actually was very good at it, using the Candelas almost like a fuse charge to try and space it out to try and keep the distance. And Arakazi then dropping underneath all of that frenzy. It's a good play, hits him from behind, and obviously, the guy at the copy window kind of got caught out, but then Arakaza used the information, knowing where his teammate died, got the refrag. As soon as that guy in copy window's dead, the plant should be going down. And it was going down. Arakaza then finds the other man inside a kitchen. You sat there 2v1. Diffuser going down. Arakaza, sure, loses that, but at no point should Jing be getting off to push for the kill. And the thing is, he didn't even push for the kill.
No,
he just
static. Yeah,
like,
just stood still.
you know what I mean? It's just, it's frustrating because they're better than this. I've said this many times, Ollie. I get upset because I care. It's all out of passion. There's only a few teams I truly do hate. You'll not know who they are. You'll never know who they are because I think I had it quite well. But that's just the way it is. I care too much because I've seen how good these teams can be.
I mean, it's the same way that you give teams like MIBR and NIP a hard time because you know how good they can be as teams.
Well, there might be the exceptions.
And Taylor going to gather a bit of info on the drone. Rin thinks about potentially catching the pest, but instead turns his attention to the blue stairs. Quickly dips himself out of dodge. It's not somewhere that you often see in Amaru, is it, on the rappel? Often the use of the Amaru is to get in somewhere quickly.
How is he?
Woogieman's found himself down at the top of main.
Too many aggressions
I
here
think
right
it was
now.
from Good Boy, wasn't it?
It was. It would have been from the player, but still, like, how are you getting down up there on Banana? And for what purpose? The whole point of this top floor defense, really, for Damwon KIA is just to fire in as much utility as they can. They have the castle barricades. They have the Azami barriers. Immediately, that is so much work that Sandbox have to get through. Not only do we see Azami have great play during Outstage 3, the thing with Castle also is he's kind of like the original Azami in a sense where you're putting up something that's bulletproof. Obviously, he's restricted to doorways and windows and certain things like that. Azami a little bit more flexible in that area. But they're both designed just to burn through more utility. You know, I think realistically, Azami is... I mean, if you go back... If Azami was out a year ago, back in the old meta...
Oh, it would be a nightmare.
You know, and I think Castle, again, in the similar instinct, still holds a lot of that value, is... Has the 4 castle barricades. That's essentially 4 breaching rounds that you have to work through.
Envy Taylor, great kill there onto Coated. Fantastic game sense, knowing that he was getting droned on the Mozzie Pest. Took the Pest out and immediately turned his attention to the biggest threat and the biggest vulnerability that he had. PJH just trying to get rid of one of those Selmas in an attempt to keep Woogieman a little bit safer. Rim with quite a nice flank here as well. He's at the top of square stairs.
Nobody home.
Envy Taylor was, of course, there only a couple of moments ago, but has since rotated out. A little bit of a hop up through the hatch here, but Envy Taylor is going to get caught. Gifted a kill onto PJH. Maybe picks himself up a second. Look at him go, Demo. He's finding himself all the action. A flawless round as the final kill comes in from the rappel. Damwon KIA caught in the current. Playing ahead of all of this wonderful utility they'd placed. It's like, oh, I know what, we'll make the site really safe and then we're not going to play in the site.
That's it. You bring up these operators that are great at wasting time and utility, and it's all set around holding static positions and just letting the attackers struggle.
Play in front of it.
What Damwon KIA has done is just said, okay, we're going to set all this up, but then we're not going to use that.
It's like having a big castle and fighting outside the castle.
Yep.
You'd fight in the castle, wouldn't you? You'd sit on the castle walls and throw rocks and stuff.
I know what you're trying to reference.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
It's factual.
I mean, it's just... I don't know.
3-3 half
I
potentially.
don't know. It's, you know, it's trying to play football one leg. It's not going to work.
Is the garage push going to work this time? Or is the garage push going to be non-existent? I do hope that Sandbox learn from the mistakes and don't stack so heavily into Woogieman. If, of course, Woogieman does choose to play in garage, which it looks like he will. He had a good time there last time. No reason to not give it a couple of seconds at the start of this round. Certainly judging by the spawns, we're not going to see Envy Taylor or Arakazu caught up in any of that sort of nonsense. Hopefully we get a very concise clear, get control of this open area, start to work the hatches, and lean into some of this utility that Sandbox are bringing. They've got the secondary hard breach gadget, they've got a couple of exothermic charges, they've even got the Jackal. Search out any of that roam game that might be lingering.
So, Sandbox looking for early engagement in towards server. Envy Taylor try this hand at maybe a Candela, but that will be swiftly shut down. I think knowing that you're up against the Wamai, not going to get through that, are you? As a Ying, it's going to be very difficult, especially whenever you do not have the smokes to burn through because you're running the hard breach gadgets. Shile, maybe looking to aggro onto these players inside of open area, using the Jackal, of course. A menace on bank. Typically, we see this get banned out, but usually, I think if you can get a Jackal in where maybe the defenders haven't played against the Jackal for a while, it can cause a bit of commotion.
It's always a problem, isn't it, the Jackal? Just gives away a little bit. Can, of course, be baited somewhat.
When was the last time you got Jackal pinged? It's been a while, isn't it?
Usually Jackal gets banned, honestly.
Exactly. That's why you're not expecting it.
Yeah, you just don't really look to... It's a very, it can be, the thing is, it's very different, isn't it, in a team environment, because it's typically a very solo operator in sort of ranks and stuff like that, but in a team environment it can be very useful to sort of translate that information. And you just look at how quickly they've been able to route the defenders down onto that ground floor. They've done a reasonable job of things here. Hatches are open. We've lost a little bit of util in terms of one Candela from Envy Taylor, but we've still got a couple left. All these hatches. Ooh, there we go. Lasergate.
Indeed.
What a bad time for that to reactivate.
Tim will be proud of that one.
That's very unfortunate. That's thrown a big spanner in the works, Demo. They can't get the breach anymore.
They can get the breach, but there is a wall soft that they could try and push in from. I suppose whenever hatch is open as well, Ollie, you're always going to have options, I suppose. Maybe Envy Taylor's looking for a solo drop in towards Vault, which essentially would neutralize the player inside of red. This is one way that you can do it. Of course, it's risky, but as a Ying, you can then deny PGH, but he is the warden, keep in mind. He did get flashed, and there goes the other one. Tries to pop the Goyo. Caster instead pops ahead of Envy Taylor. PGH, a great counterplay using that warden. Arakazi's dropped in with him. Didn't even know he was there. Where's he appeared from? He just spawned in, and he also gets shut down. PGH on a mad one on the warden. Good boy has to try and pick up the remains. It will be a 4 versus 3 as Static is in the site, but Yas is causing a lot of issues. They have to try and push in deep. Shile now comes down main stairs, but he also gets slaughtered. Down KIA holding this down tight. Watertight for that. In fact, down KIA letting nothing slide through the pipes.
What a great round from Damwon. Very well played indeed. They had a very early call that there was a Ying there. We saw a Candela thrown and a Candela shot within the first 30 to 40 seconds. At that point, we saw PJH, who was upstairs, rotated down. Sure, he got Jackal tracked, but he was already in the site when he got Jackal tracked. They knew that that was going to be a real big part of that end push because time was likely going to be a bit of a problem. They had a couple of tricks up their sleeve. They got a bit lucky with the laser gate removing one of the exothermic charges. And then after that, when the time's running so low and you've got good info on what's going on, you know, hey, there's no one pushing garage. Woogieman's got that on lockdown. No one pushing main stairs. We've got somebody watching that. PJH is going to be watching Gold Vault. There was Yassi who was inside a site. There was loads of different angles there being held. And there was an attempt from Sandbox. Had it not been for the Ying, I think it maybe would have gone a little bit differently. There could have been certainly a little bit more coordination there. But realistically, Damwon have done a very good job there to salvage a 4-2 split, particularly after the way a couple of those rounds for Sandbox Gaming went. However, we now change the sides. We saw that aggression that we asked for from Damwon. We saw them willing to get out in the face of Sandbox and really pose a little bit of a threat and a problem. And it worked, and sometimes it didn't.
Sandbox have, they've lost this defense.
Pourquoi, monsieur?
Yep, they've lost this defense.
Oh, I see. But they've got the smoke as well, so surely the Tachanka is...
I don't get why people think he's just...
Demo hates Tachanka. And I'll be honest,
it just doesn't work. It does not work.
I'll be honest with you. Prior to Goyo's change, I was a bit like, man, Tachanka's... Just bring Goyo and bring something else.
I mean, they do have the Goyo. It's just...
They have the Goyo. They tripled down on this. Where is the Valkyrie?
The thing is, with Tachanka, and I see it happen all too often, as soon as that launcher is out, right, God, there's a list of issues, right? One, the launcher, as soon as you have it out in your hand, you do not have a gun. Therefore, if someone knows you have it out, you can simply walk in and shoot them in the head because they do not have a gun, right? That's the first issue, and that happens all the time. Two, the Molotovs just don't do enough damage. You can run through it very easily. And three, just gunslash.
You just don't like it.
The gunslash is not good either.
You just don't like it.
It's just, I just don't think it's good.
Goyo taken out. Good boy. Horrible game so far, 1-6. Taken out on the entry. Oh, Yas nearly has a chance at a second there as a player crosses. He will have potentially a bit of a challenge to deal with on the main stairs now as well. Banshee, very easily dealt with, but a lot of players in position to swing in. Wasn't ready for the gunfight against Static, but it doesn't matter. Yas is just better. Picks himself up a second. Sile feeling the heat inside of open. Not sure if the hatch is open to his right for him to drop down. It is. Hatch inside of desk is going to be closed, but he still has an easy exit if he wishes. And it's an exit that Sandbox are probably better off taking sooner rather than later. They don't want to wait around and find out what happens to them as Damwon do turn their attention now to clearing out this open. There's going to be a bit of a two-pronged approach. Somebody pushing it in through staff and cafeteria, someone pushing the double door, and it's going to be coated from the double that picks up onto MV Taylor. With that, we do eventually see the drop down from Sile, but all that's left, Demo, is one Malusi and your favourite Tachanka.
That's what I mean about Tachanka now. When's he going to get a chance to use his launcher? He's not going to, because he's going to get rushed. This is the issue. There we go. What's that, Chief? Oh! Oh!
I really hope that Arakazu clutches this now, just to prove you wrong, but it would have been a very tall order. It certainly wasn't happening.
As a wise man once said, wake up.
Flawless round for Damwon.
Just does not work. Just does not work.
They look scary on that attack. They had a lot of conviction in what they were doing. Yes, on that entry. 2 off the back of some good drone work. Sandbox getting caught flat-footed.
Good boys, not up to scratch today.
And it's one of those, isn't it? Of all the games that you could have an off day, today's easily one that you would go, yeah, I'll take it.
It's not the end of the world, yeah, of course, but like we've mentioned before for Sandbox,
but for confidence,
building the momentum,
yes, for confidence, momentum, for all of the other things that go into it, for just pure mental state.
Why do you want to go into an international competition showing weaknesses?
Yes.
Albeit, I will say though that Sandbox have played quite a lot of bank. This split, I wouldn't put it past them for them to not play it at all during the major.
Yeah, potentially could be a bit of a permanent
because they're happy enough to toss it out. I mean, if they know they're going to the major, why are they playing bank now? At the end of the day, think about it realistically.
It's not going to be a map that you expect to see very much of. And if you do, guess what? It's going to be entirely different.
Well, you never know.
As different as you can make it.
I mean, how much more different do you think can Sandbox hold this? Because most of their holds are pretty
default stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. How crazy can they get?
That was a crazy bulletproof demo.
They had a Tachanka, surely that shows us all kind of crazies.
It'll have the analysts working day and night figuring that one out, demo.
Why have they brought the Tachanka? Oh, they're trolling. See. Another bad analysis, anyway. Monty comes in for Coed. Damwon KIA, a team that aren't afraid of bringing in this operator. Very efficient with it as well. We have to add that into the mix. They are known to play those shield operators extremely well. Fully reinforcing off the Teller's wall. Archives wall is a bit of a strange one. You don't see all too often. Generally for this wall, you will see a bit of an open up. Open area, you can get headlocked into it very easily, just to become trapped almost. It's very claustrophobic whenever walls and the upstairs verticality start getting opened up, and especially the hatches. So generally what we see as defenders, they will open up an extension in through that triple wall, and it just gives a little bit more breathing room where you can hold in towards Teller Archives. Obviously takes more control of the map away from the attackers as best as you can. So seeing them fully trap themselves in may cause some issues.
Coates just going to be funneling these defenders, almost manhandling them back down onto the site. Sile drops the hatch.
He's stuck, by the way.
Yeah, you can't get out of there now. I think
and he never mind.
He
had the hatch open.
Was that angle not being held?
No, he had the hatch open. He dropped down the hatch.
I thought that Zofia was holding that. Yeah. Oh, it's not quite open enough. Bit of a shame.
I mean, that was good there from Shy, I think, to just get out of dodge as quick as he could.
Yeah.
Because if he does linger for a little bit longer, then he would be dead.
You've got to get out of there, haven't you? Brink can now start to rip open a lot of this floor. These sort of vertical holders
get the hatches
submitted open. Now. Potential for a bit of a C4 here.
You get Janitor hatch open, Sandbox are done. Because Good Boy can no longer play in that position. Good Boy then has to rotate into an area that is not going to be safe. Because, again, he doesn't have that fallback. He does not have the ability to go back into Tellers and Archives because they fully reinforce the wall. Get that hatch open. ASA, please.
ASA, please.
Why have I said that?
Well, there's the C4. We do have a couple of secondary hard breach gadgets, so there is an ability to open this hatch. Other than that, there is no other hard breach available, so you need to be very choice as to where you use them. If Coated's going to drop before using them, then, well, we're not going to see him used. Boogeyman, maybe he gets himself found out here, but no, he's just better. Takes down Static. Envy Taylor, he's going to start picking him up on the side as the drop comes through, but it's not successful.
Why are you doing that?
Look at them all fall. Again, we've just seen a single hatch dropped, and a lot of players felled in one swoop. Yas picks himself one, potential to find another here. Rin next to the party, he's going to drop himself as well. He does manage to land a scrappy engagement. Rin and Yas against Arakazu and Good Boy. Maybe chance now for Good Boy to do something. Rin, he's going to start to try and get the plant down. Yas is attempting to cover, but Arakazu is there with the clear. No chance here for Yas to push through. He's just simply not got the angles to work with. Bit of a soft attack from down one. Very one-dimensional.
It just... Don't know why they're not opening up Janner's hatch. Don't understand why Monty's unshielded there and trying to go for a kill. Don't know what to say.
There was a lack of that copy window as well. It's so good to get someone on that copy window.
We've seen this a lot as of late, is copy window. The player just in behind the print.
Play copy window.
Issues after issues.
You don't need to go. You don't even need to get in. You can just play the window often.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
Just strange from Dplus KIA. It just looked as if they pulled the trigger way too fast, and just the kickback has affected them there.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen. I mean, you can't even ask for more vertical because all of it got done. Sledge was swinging the hammer upstairs for ages. It was
Janner's hatch. That's what needed to be opened up. Because it gives you another way in, it gives you another drop. Look at the success that even Sandbox had in those attacks of dropping somebody in Janitors. Arakazu has picked up kills for fun.
The thing about the road game on Monday when we watched Bank, how often was that entire Janitors floor just ripped open? And then the wall in between desk and cafeteria onto quad, because there's just so many different angles you can find.
Quad wall wasn't really being touched though, albeit I don't know what it is about quad wall, it's just not being seen.
It's very easy to impact trick.
It is.
And
but
you leave yourself susceptible to one of the worst flanks in the game on blue stairs, which is just a headache you don't have to think about if you don't go for it.
If you can't hold blue stairs, like what are you doing, to be fair, Ollie? Come on. Surely that's a basic.
It's horrible. I appreciate the drop.
Maybe I'm just a visionary. Maybe I see the game differently. What do I know?
How can you say maybe I'm just a visionary and then what do I know in the same sentence? You basically just said that you know everything.
I played the game.
CEO. Chance here for Dplus KIA to get themselves onto a match point potentially. Sandbox though. They're bringing the heavy hitters. Doc, Rook, plenty of intel. Goyo. Reasonable lineup, all things considered. Which way are Dplus going to try and force it this time? They've got, of course, the Ying again, and this time they brought the gridlock for a little bit more security. I do worry about how much info that Sandbox have got available to them here, though.
Yeah, Dplus KIA looking for the window execute along with a team coming in via Skylight, and then also having a crouch-walking Nook somewhere else. It looks to be lobby, is where PGH is trying to get himself into, obviously using the grenades that he can just toss in towards Banana. Oh, what a nade! Unbelievable from PGH. However, the Doc Stim is there. He's back up to full HP. All credit to PGH. Close, but no scar.
Just remove Doc at this point. You feel so sorry for PGH there. He should be rewarded for that level of a nade. You can't just have a Doc Stim be like, oh yeah, that's like nothing happened. Rewind 5 seconds. And now we start from scratch. Dplus KIA down a nade. Down 2 nades, actually. Still, they've got this pressure on the windows. And they're maybe just going to look for a straight-up hop-in. Coated, he's going to go for it. Now he thinks the player's pretty much 1 HP, but Yas is going to see to it that he is. Envy Taylor starts to see a little bit of damage there as well. Immediately juices himself back up, ready for the engagement. He's got Coated and PJH to contend with here. PJH potentially not having the best of angles at the moment, but he is going to get himself up those main stairs and maybe, just maybe, is able to catch somebody out. Now there was a Valkyrie camera down in the main lobby as well, and there is yellow pings available here. Envy Taylor playing a pretty dangerous game, and the pinch needs needs to be well timed. Surely you will pop the Goyo canister, but the Yin Candela is pressure enough for him to push on back under the cover of the smoke. Woogieman's going to get himself into sight and start to try and get that plant down just by the desk, in fact on top of it, just in case of the C4, of which we know there is none. Somehow Static has lost control of that top floor along with another one of the members of Sandbox, Sile.
Get out the window.
And we're going to see people start to hop out of the windows as that plant is successful. Now you've got a very tricky retake on your hands. Yas has picked 3. Static, you got a lot to find here, and they're almost lining up for you, but you're not going to be able to do it, unfortunately for you. Coated snags that final kill. Tactical timeout here for Sandbox. You could argue, is it a bit too late? Because Damwon there, very nice 3-2-1.
I love that attack. Actually, a great round to break down the Telestrator. If I had the potential to do it, I would. But I'll try and kind of paint the picture for you, Ollie, right?
Damo.
If you think about how Damwon KIA kind of funneled their players in, they had Coated on the Finca. He came in first, he swung in through the windows, got himself in a position on Banana. It's very easy, I think, to, as soon as somebody's in, actually in through the windows, automatically everyone thinks, oh, if he's in, surely I can then swing in. And you're probably looking at Woogieman thinking he could then swing in, try and get the diffuser down as quick as he could. But what Damwon KIA did is they got Coated into a position where he can start challenging onto the dock on top Kanto wall, then removes that player in Kanto who's then holding spiral stairs, which then allows PGH to come in. He then comes up the stairs. They're fighting against that dock. They've pushed him back. They've pushed him back into the site. PGH then takes the position of Coated, holding onto Kanto, and then Coated can rotate and play against the players trying to push back into sight, and then Woogieman comes in.
It's genius.
It was great patience to wait until PGH was actually in a position to do something.
Yes.
Then Coated can go and do the actual heavy lifting, which is making sure that Woogieman does not die as he pushes him with all the utility.
The teamwork
I thought that
there
was
was
great.
great.
Not rushing,
Yeah.
which was the key thing, which, to be fair, that's the issue that Damwon KIA had the last round, was they pulled the trigger too quick.
Yes.
That was a perfect example of how they can rectify those and how good they are whenever they have that control. Love that round.
Even some of the safety measures and the fallbacks that Sandbox had in place, like the Goyo canister at the top of main, it wasn't able to be activated in time because of the immense pressure that MV Taylor felt. There was the Candelas coming in as well at the same time. All of it led to a very successful round and a match point opportunity here for Damwon KIA. Sandbox, they have taken that time out and they've gone down to the basement to see if they can stabilize and drag things out a little bit longer here. Mirror being brought this time by Arakazu.
10 seconds remaining.
Got the smoke as well. Only one C4. Not always a worry, but Mirror or Pulse, you kind of choose your preference here. And both are equally viable, depending on where you want to place that second mirror. It'd be nice to see a successful roam here from Sandbox. I think they can't afford to give away that top floor so softly.
No Warden, which is going to be an issue.
Big win condition of the previous time we saw this site. Round number 8.
Damwon KIA in the attacks, very slow. Which I think is basically what Sandbox didn't do, was control the game. I think during these attacks, Sandbox have just looked out of it. Compared to Damwon KIA, I think they've gave Damwon KIA all the control. It looks like a bit of fear has set in. Looking at the kills and the players in Sandbox, is anyone really home at the moment? 7 kills is your max right now.
It's worrying,
on Arakazi, and he got 4 of them from one round. He's got 3 in the other. Like, it's nobody from Sandbox is there.
Yeah, it's very worrying. Not a great time to be falling into a bit of a slump, is it? You would certainly look for a little bit more. And maybe we'll find it. There's still potentially a good number of rounds left, 3 at least, to take it into an overtime. Potentially another 3, so there's opportunity for everyone here to come away with a good number more kills. Certainly with the way that Sandbox are playing it this time, it seems as though they're being much more reserved. Candela there, just in an attempt to clear out archives. It is going to work as well. Good boy. He's had a tough time all game and an even tougher time on that entry. Sile will be there to trade things back, however. Damwon, they just love dropping that open hatch demo.
They do, and nobody went with him. I think that was the main issue again for Damwon KIA, pulling the trigger too early. You've done well to get that opening pick. Why not wait? Why not wait, Rin? Wait for the teammates to come around and assist you with that. Oh, MV Taylor Good night, PGH. He was on that window. The Ying will be used to great effect to try and get coated into open area. There will still be 2 players upstairs. Goodbye, Envy Taylor. One more they know about in the corner, and there will be the drop and trying to chase him through, but no. Thinks against that drop as well. So Sandbox, they've done well to stun DWG KIA. They've eliminated 2, but also lost 2 in the process. But look at the time, only 30 seconds to go, and there's still going to be a smoke grenade and a C4 that they have to burn through.
Not a lot of time here. There's still 2 Candelas on the side of DWG, so they do have a little bit of a hope to cause a bit of shock and awe.
Is it enough?
First Toxic Babe canister coming out now, coated. He's in position to drop and kill this smoke player.
He needs to 1-for-1 trade the smoke.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
the only thing he can do. He has to 1-for-1 trade the smoke or the mirror. One of the 2. He has to kill somebody with the utility.
Maybe he's going to go for it now. We do see the Candela come up. Is he going to go for the drop? It looks like he's framing up for it, just checking inside of that garage, making sure no one's there. The plant now going down. Toxic Babe canister is going to be just in the right position, and the kill from Static in the off-plant location. Woogieman, he tried to fox them there, Demo, but he could not get away with it. You were not getting past anyone there on Sandbox. They certainly had your number.
Yeah, indecisive from Coated. Lost him the round.
Why didn't he drop?
At that stage, he's probably scared of the 3rd man. He knows the mirror and the smoke where they're going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be the 3rd man that you're scared of.
Yeah.
Right? Could be in garage, which he fought. Could just be holding him from the doorway, which he was. You just have to drop. Sure, you'll probably die. You will die. But if you do nothing, it's going to have the same result. At least you know if you drop, who knows? The Melusi could just whiff an entire mag. You have... It's better than do something than do nothing. In that scenario, you need to do something.
I'm getting the words here. Make the play, or the play makes you...
Is this your new motto? It feels like it.
It is true, though.
Just, I hate people who are indecisive. I hate it. Just go for it. What do you... It's a video game. You don't die in real life.
Saving stats. Saving stats.
Stats matters.
No, and it's a difficult spot, isn't it? Because, you know, obviously Coated maybe wants to be alive for that post-plant, thinking, well, if we get the plant down, but they die.
Then you have the upstairs control. If he drops, there's no upstairs control. But you're not getting that far, mate.
Yeah.
You're not getting that far. You need to go for it there and then.
Still match point for DWG. Sandbox. Are they going to be able to catch up? That's my concern. Okay, they can win a basement. They were successful last time they defended this site as well. However, I don't believe we saw the best from DWG. Now, we are seeing the same lineup. I really hope that Coated is going to use that secondary utility this time and at least open up that janitor's hatch, because that was the biggest problem of this previous round.
They have the operators to make this a success. Realistically, if you look at the open area, again, quad wall hasn't been touched as of late, so you can understand why you maybe don't bring in the ranged hard breacher or the Thermite, for example. As long as you can get the hatches open, that's the key. DWG KIA did not open up janitor's hatch. That needs to be open. That, in my opinion, is the priority. It gives you another avenue in. If you think about where that default plant is, right? It's in a corner. Everyone's looking towards, you know, the southwest corner. Everyone's there. If you had somebody else drop in towards janitor, all of a sudden now, that's 2 engagements. That's 2 fronts that then the defenders have to battle through. That's the thing. Fighting engagements, whenever you're looking one direction, you know, kind of, if you think about like a 180-degree cone, as long as you know everyone's going to be pushing in your 180-degree cone, you're safe, because all you have to do is just hold that. If somebody is at 181, you then have to move, you have to turn, and that off-puts you. That's what you need to do as an attacker, is make the defenders have to turn, pivot, look, never settle, always in the back of the mind thinking, I'm holding this angle, but somebody could be behind me. That's what it is. And keep in mind, we know there is some great mechanically gifted players in this league. Nobody's hitting 180 shots consistently. That's just a fact.
Well, fortunately, this time we've seen a little bit more from DWG. Not only have they opened up that janitor's hatch, but we've also got the book upstairs as well this time, assisting Rin, opening up a lot of these angles. As such, the players from Sandbox have scurried away into the corners of open and more into the cafeteria area. Sile Be a little bit off-site here.
They're in.
Arakazu does have a chance at getting himself out if he wishes, but a hatch drop comes in. He's aware of the player below. The Lion scan, it's going to be a little bit too late. We're now seeing the Monty battle again. It's just trying to hold court here in the corner of open, but he's not going to be able to assist any of his teammates getting on in. A little bit of a cheeky kill through the drone hole. Finally, we're seeing this copy pressure demo as a nade from Rin sails on through to deal with Static. Still, time looking a little bit short here. Sile got himself upstairs and is maybe going to pick up a freebie as the plant does go down. If he continues to hold this vertical pressure, it could be huge, but no, he gets caught looking the wrong way. Instead was thirsting after the kill. We are going to see the plant successful. Rin picks himself up too. DWG KIA, they get it over the line. They come away with what was very similar on paper demo to their previous attempt at attacking open area, but this time they had polished it to within an inch of its life.
2 changes. They eliminated the player on the copy window, and Monty did not die. Monty was not a fool. Monty didn't try and first after kills. He just stood there and waited. And if you look at Sandbox, the panic, knowing Monty's there, not only is it going to allow the plant to get put down because it's a big massive wall and you can shoot through, but also just the information.
Yeah.
Like, Monty knows exactly where you are. You can't be sitting there. You're going to be breaking it thinking, what am I going to do?
We even saw the rotation into copy as well. Everything that we asked for, it was like a Christmas list. We got everything we wanted on the list demo. Good round there from Damwon to close things out, beating Sandbox on Bank. And that was our final game of the stage here in APAC North. We're going to throw to a very short break, then we'll be back with our desk to break that down, to go over all of our league standings. And we've got a couple more surprises, so stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.